This is my story, how I helped tens of thousands of students to see their future.
Look good.
Do good. Buy one.
Give one.
A simple solution to a huge problem that millions of children in China can't see what's in front of them. This is his story, how he helped
To allow children to see.
It's 2010 and Sam moved to rural Yunnan to teach English.
I was living and teaching. It was a small town, or a market town called Yongbao. So to get there, you take, first you fly to Kunming, which is the capital of Yunnan.
Who was to know that 8 years and 600 schools later, he'd still be here?
So take us back to rural Yunnan. What was it like when you first arrived?
Well, when I first went to rural Yunnan, I really had no idea what to expect. I'd been studying Chinese in college, but I didn't know anything about Yunnan, and rural China was a complete mystery to me. That's part of what attracted me to the program. It was beautiful, it really was. The school was surrounded by rice terraces. Most of the farmers still used water oxen.
And how did you first notice that some of the children were struggling to see?
Well, the group of us that started Education in Sight, we all noticed that a number of our students were really just clearly, they're squinting in class, they couldn't copy notes from the board. So much of the classroom learning in China and rural China is done directly in that manner. If you don't have that, then it's a huge impediment to your ability to review and to study. So it really became quite obvious to us very early on that there was a giant gap here.
A lot of people would see this problem but have no idea how to tackle it. How did you first go about trying to solve it?
The initial idea was just, before we left, we wanted to make sure that if nothing else, at least we would get the kids in our classrooms at our schools glasses so they could see. And it was really after that that we started playing with this idea. Should we try to scale this? So from there we took it a step at a time.
Once you decided to do something about this, was it a smooth process?
It was a long process. We started doing our nonprofit work in 2012, and we didn't actually get ourselves a properly registered Chinese nonprofit entity until earlier this year. So it was like 6 years that it took to do that.
I think it's really easy to find excuses and reasons to walk away from the problem. What would you say to someone who thinks like that?
I wouldn't have blamed us if we decided not to stick with it. Just because you start a project like this doesn't mean that you need to spend the rest of your life doing it. So I think it's really important to remember that no one person can fix everything. So what really matters is to find one cause that you really believe in, that you really care about and are passionate about, and throw yourself into that. This is a really special place for me. So I would ride around here with this old sanluncha with all our glasses on the back, basically doing like a really kind of traditional Chinese style, selling on the side of the street, that people would think it was like kind of funny or at least memorable, and they'd forward the story. That really worked quite well. If you're going to try to get attention and cut through all the noise in China, you have to do something that really stands out, that really gets people to stop and listen.
And I guess that was a really great way to tell your personal story and connect with people on a person-to-person level.
I think if you can make people feel like you don't take yourself too seriously, that's also a great way to get them to kind of open up and be a little more enthusiastic about learning about your story. And then afterwards, people will remember me as like that dancing Lao Wai in Sanlei Tun. It's effective. Yeah, exactly. It's something.
Overall, would you say it had the effect that you wanted?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we got a lot of attention, a lot of buzz on social media, people coming to learn about our story. We even had some celebrities wear our glasses and support us.
So what's next for Mantra?
Well, what Mantra's trying to really do in China is to generate this idea that consumption and supporting a brand is a real reflection of like your values. We think that the current generation of young Chinese people is really, really invested in seeing China turn into a more and more dynamic and equitable society. And the young people that I meet every day are super excited to get involved in nonprofit work or give back to society in some way.
Are you hopeful about the future of companies like Mantra?
Most people in China, it's true, they don't really have this concept of mixing a philanthropic and a business enterprise into something like a social enterprise. So that means that the cost of education for our customers is relatively high. You can do business and charity at the same time, but at the same time, I think it's very sensitive. Other companies get out there and start doing this and mess it up, then they could mess it up for everybody.
Given the skepticism around, say, possibly NGOs or social enterprises, what have you found is the best way to kind of brand yourself to the public?
We're still experimenting with that a little bit. In Chinese, the phrase that we use the most is 公益潮牌, which is like a real juxtaposition of like 公益, which is a very like traditional word for charity, basically, social work, and 潮牌, which is like a trendy, basically like more of a streetwear brand, something like Bape, Supreme, or that sort of thing. And so we're trying to kind of mash those together. We're still kind of figuring out long-term what types of terms we'll use. So we've kind of played around with the idea of, can we build our, can we create a new word, a new term, or like something that doesn't have all of that history and kind of sensitivity and weight to it. If we're successful in what we're trying to do, then a few years from now, I think we can be acknowledged as one of like the very first, if not like the first, well-known social enterprise in China. So I hope that Mantra can be part of really leading the charge to get young people more involved in find their own mantras. Like, what do they care about? What do they believe in? How do they fill their time? What types of projects do they choose to support? I'm Sam, and that was my story.
Oh, are we going?
I mean, we're fine.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Need to look perfect. Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
皆さんこんにちは、こんばんは、アスカです。今日もスーパーマリオメーカーやっていきましょう。まず最初にこちら、V パックンのミニコース、ウコンさんのコースです。飲む前にウコン。いやー、ちょっと待って、V パックンいっぱいいる。これ V パックンって言うんだ。オッケー。こっからスタート。いいねー、ちょっと待って、オッケーオッケーオッケー。あ、下、もっと下？上か。あー、届かない。いけた。ちょっと、そう。このちびっこにやられるとは。このコース200秒もあるけど、200秒もかかるのかしら。恐怖。ちょっとここ気をつけ。よし。で、ここは、はい、降りる。戻る。大丈夫？なに、見にくい。上？ほっ。やったー！鍵取ってどうする？あ、来てる！お前ら！こうか。よし。待って。ルートがわかんない。よし。オッケー。頑張ろう。V パックンたち。よし。こうか！おりゃー！待って！これ下だな。トン。ポス！オッケー。トン。で、ここだよー。はい。キャー！待って！お前ら何やってんだ？戻ってくんじゃねえよ、もういいよ。もういらねえよ。ずーっとこうやって生きてるんだね、君たちは。アトラクションのように。かわいそうに。ずーっとこうやって繋がれてるんだね。ごめんよ。嫌な言い方して。一回ドア入っちゃうか。入っちゃう。これや。で、鍵ドアに。やだ、もう怖い。見たくない。よかったー。ティタタター。ちょっともうパックン当分見たくないわ。当分見たくないもの多い。よかったー。いいね。なんだ、これ行くんだな。まさか、私の動画見て作ったでしょ、これきっと。絶対そうだ。もう似すぎや。こんなのね、余裕なんだ